I wish someone bullied me into not wearing this hat. Can you imagine that T-shirt was the second stupidest thing I was wearing that day?
And this year, 47 million people will travel home for Thanksgiving. Here with his thoughts on going home for the holiday is Pete Davidson.
Hello. Hey, Colin. What up?
Hello, Pete. Now, you and I are both from Staten Island.
Yes.
And do you plan on going home for Thanksgiving?
No, I don't. It's not that I don't love my family. I do. But at this point, Thanksgiving dinner is just a bunch of old people asking me what Kate McKinnon is like. And I honestly don't know. She never talks to me. So. Plus, I feel like my hometown doesn't really like me.
Well, why wouldn't they like you? Everyone there is so nice.
Well, of course you'd say that. You're like the most popular person from there. This is how they write about Colin in our hometown newspaper, the Staten Island Advance. Colin Jost tees up. It's about 3 weeks till election, but you could never tell by Colin Jost's swing. And here's how they write about me. This is a review of a Weekend Update appearance I did. The best part about this one was his interaction with Colin Jost. No, it's seriously, it's crazy. Like, look at the picture they use of you, right? Now look at the picture they use of me.
Well, why do you think they don't like you, Pete?
I have no idea. I mean, if I had to guess, it's maybe something I said in an interview once, that I wished that when Hurricane Sandy hit Staten Island, it had finished the job.
Yeah, I remember that.
No, maybe I did cross the line, but like when a reporter from Staten Island wrote about it in the New York Post, here's what he said. Keep talking like that and you'll be sleeping with the fishes. That's a death threat. In a newspaper. Who does that? What are you, the Zodiac? And then he said, try taking a cue from your fellow SNL cast member, Colin Jost. He's also way better looking than you.
Well, I could see how what you said might make you more unpopular.
Well, it was just a joke. A serious joke. Like, you know, like when you're joking, but you mean it? But I don't even feel that way anymore. I'd be just as happy if there were no hurricane and Staten Island just fell into the sea.
Okay. Take it easy.
No, seriously, no. If Staten Island... No, if Staten Island is so desirable, then why is it free to get there? And no, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I know Staten Island isn't all heroin and racist cops, you know? It also has meth and racist firefighters.
I just want to say, what you're describing is not the Staten Island I know, Pete.
Well, because they love you, you know, like, because you represent what they could be. You know, a kid who got out. He went to Harvard, and now, apparently, according to People magazine, is the world's sexiest joke writer. And look, the reason Staten Island hates me is because I represent what they are. You know, a mentally ill community college dropout who got a Game of Thrones tattoo before watching the show. Dire wolves look dope.
Yeah.
I don't need to know what's going on. But no, hey, congrats on that sexiest thing, by the way. Relax.
Yeah.
Okay? Come on, relax. Let's be honest. The sexiest joke writer is a really specific category. Yeah, it's like being the world's smartest horse.
So I take it you're not going home for Thanksgiving.
No, I am.
Okay, maybe for the Pete Davidson, everyone.
I say!
Weekend Update. I'm Colin Jost.
I'm Michael Jaganelli.
And now, here to talk about how he spent his summer is Pete Davidson.
Hi, Colin. So, my summer, yeah. Do I need to explain, or can I just, like, get into it?
Yeah, I think we could just get into it. Well, you got engaged to Ariana Grande. Yep.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, thank you. I did. I got engaged. And no one could believe it, and I can't believe it. And yeah, I get it. She's the #1 pop star in the world, and I'm that guy from SNL that everyone thinks is in desperate need of more blood.
Well, congratulations. I know it's been kind of crazy.
Yeah, you know what? Do you remember when that whole city pretended that kid was Batman because he was like sick? That's what this feels like.
Have you been enjoying all of the attention?
I hate it. It's awful. I'm so scared. Yo, I got death threats. Yeah.
Death threats.
Yeah. It's Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, and Pete Davidson are all people who have gotten death threats. And I assumed I would find out, about it like how they do in movies, like the government's in your living room with headsets and there's detectives in suits and they're like, "Sir, we have a situation." That's not how I found out. I was leaving my building, and my doorman said, "Yo, man, somebody trying to kill you."
Now, if you don't mind me asking, can I ask, what's the prenup situation?
Well, obviously, I wanted one, so God forbid we split up and she takes half my sneakers. No, look, I'm totally comfortable being with a successful woman. I think it's dope. I live at her place, She pays 60 grand for rent, and all I have to do is stock the fridge. And yeah.
Well, the man doesn't always have to be the breadwinner in a relationship.
Goddamn right, Colin. He does not. Yeah, last night I switched her birth control with Tic Tacs. No, I believe in us and all. But, I just want to, make sure that she can't go anywhere.
Well, she put a song on her new album, and it was called Pete Davidson.
I know.
That seems like a very amazing thing to do.
Sick.
Yeah. And what have you done for her?
I mentioned the fridge thing, right? I also love her very much.
That's great.
You know I don't even get royalties for that Pete Davidson song? You know that? Like if we break up, and we will, but we won't. No, I'm kidding. But in 10 years, if God forbid that ever happened, there will be a song called Pete Davidson playing in speakers at Kmart, and I'll be working there.
Pete Davidson, everyone.
Yo, Lil Pump, that's my dressing room.
Weekend Update. I'm Colin Jost.
I'm Michael Che. Good night.
Last week, Kanye West performed on the show, and afterwards he gave an unplanned speech to the audience in support of Donald Trump. Here with his reaction to Kanye's speech is Pete Davidson.
First off, a lot of people thought Che should be the one to talk about Kanye, but we discussed it, because Che's black, but I'm crazy, and we both know which side of Kanye is at the wheel right now. So, off to a good start. So speaking strictly for myself, what Kanye said after he went off the air last week was one of the worst, most awkward things I've ever seen here. And I've seen Chevy Chase speak to an intern. And we all had to stand behind him. And here's what it looked like. So, that inspires me. I'm on the left. I'm oh, God. And then I'm I want a career, so I leave. Necessary. So Kanye was wearing a MAGA hat. That's what it's called. It's stupid. Yeah. And he started by saying people backstage tried to bully him into not wearing it. He wore it all week. Nobody told him not to wear it. I wish I bullied you. I wish I would have suggested that, it might upset some people, like your wife or every black person ever. I wish someone bullied me into not wearing this hat. Can you imagine that T-shirt was the second stupidest thing I was wearing that day? Then Kanye said that Democrats broke up black families with welfare, and slavery is not real. Do you know how wrong about politics you have to be for me to notice? You know how annoying that is? Like, Kanye is a genius, but like a musical genius. You know, like Joey Chestnut is a hot dog eating genius. You know, but I don't want to hear Joey Chestnut's opinion about things that aren't hot dog related.
That's a very good. Yes, I agree.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. But like Kanye, I know you're like, yo, this is the real me. I'm off the meds. Take them. There's no shame in the medicine game. I'm on them. It's great. Take them. There's nothing wrong with take them. If I ever got on a plane and the pilot said, I just want all you to know, this is the real me flying. I'd jump out. Being mentally ill is not an excuse to act like a jackass. Okay? I'm quoting my therapist, my mom, and my mailman. Sorry, Carl. But no, seriously, one time I stopped taking my meds and I bit my mom. No, it's all good. I bought her a house.
All right, so is there anything Kanye can do to win you back?
Yeah, there is, and I'll tell you in a way that Kanye understands. I made this. Make Kanye 2006 again.
Pete Davidson, everyone!
And drop that album. Where's that album?
Before we get updated on Colin Jost.
I'm Michael Che. Where's that album?
We're so happy to have this next guy back. Here to talk about a very important experience he had over the holidays is Pete Davidson. Hi, Pete. How are you, Pete?
I'm great. As you know, I've had a really crazy month, and I want to talk about something that matters a lot to me.
Okay, mental health?
No, the new Clint Eastwood movie, The Mule.
You wanted to talk about The Mule?
Yo, it's unbelievable. Have you guys not seen it?
No.
No, I've not.
Morons. Listen, yo, so I'm glad I brought someone who saw The Mule with me. It means a lot to us. Comedian and mule appreciator, John Mulaney, everybody.
Colin, hi. So you guys are talking about the mule?
No, basically never, no. I didn't actually realize that you guys hung out together.
Yeah, we do, but a lot of times it looks like I'm Pete's lawyer.
Yeah. People usually think he's like an NBA coach, and I'm like the controversial rookie.
But for real, I've been spending time with Pete to try to show him that you can have a life in comedy that is not insane. A sober, domestic life.
Yeah, and after observing John's life, I publicly threatened suicide. I'm sorry, I know I shouldn't make that joke.
Pete,
But it is funny.
Pete, look at me. Look me in the eye. You are loved by many,
Oh, thank you, John.
and we are glad you are okay.
Okay.
Now back to the mule.
Seriously. Yeah.
We went to see the mule on opening day.
We didn't go in with like any expectations.
And this movie was, I dare say,
Yes, say it.
the greatest.
Weirdest.
Most bananas movie ever made.
About a 90-year-old drug mule.
You remember when Clint Eastwood berated an empty chair at the Republican National Convention?
It's like if that was a movie.
So in The Mule.
The Mule.
Clint stars as Earl, a wildly popular botanist.
Flower Man.
Yeah. Who, after falling on hard times, is hired as a drug mule.
At age 90.
90 by a Mexican drug cartel
Run by Andy Garcia.
who was rude to me at a Laker game once.
I remember that. This is true. Yeah, and when we say he's a mule, he drives drugs across state lines. You know, I was hoping I would get to see Clint Eastwood, like, you know, shove a condom of drugs up his ass, you know, which is like what real drug mules do.
And what Pete did on our way to Denver.
Yes, because I forgot it was legal.
I was just proud of you for using a condom for once.
Yeah. Anyway, plowing through, as they say. Clint Eastwood drives hundreds of kilos of drugs across the United States.
And that's not the weird part.
The weird part is that he is 90 and he is driving.
He is 90. When my grandma turned 90, we bribed the DMV to flunk her on her driving test, and they did it.
Yeah. Why aren't you guys freaking out? He's old, okay? There's a scene where he's driving with, like, no hands.
my God.
And he's, like, unwrapping an ice cream sandwich. He's like, singing jazz and stuff. It's insane.
That's when we realized this was a superhero movie for old people about a guy whose superpower is that he can drive unsupervised.
Yeah, and he's like so good that the head of the drug cartel, played by Andy Garcia,
Who was rude to me at a Laker game once.
yes, I remember that. It's true. He throws the mule a party for being their best driver ever.
Fulfilling another elderly grandpa fantasy that a 90-year-old white man can do any job better than a Mexican, even when the job is Mexican drug trafficking.
Yeah. Oh, yo, we also forgot to mention,
Yes.
90-year-old Clint Eastwood has 2 threesomes in this movie.
And he directed it.
2. 2. I don't think you guys understand. I've had 1. I guess you probably have none, right?
You are correct, sir.
Right.
But according to the mule, I have a solid 54 years before that window closes. So look out in 2072 for my wish fulfillment movie, The Mule-Laney. In that movie, I am 90 and I have 3 ways, and Andy Garcia will move his legs so I can get to my seat.
Pete Davidson and John Mulaney.
I didn't mention it once. We did it. Michael Jacob, nice.
Well, there's a lot of controversy surrounding recent documentaries about R. Kelly and Michael Jackson. Here with some thoughts is Pete Davidson.
How you doing, man? Hey, Colin. So, have you guys seen the R. Kelly documentary?
Yeah, Pete, I did.
Okay, now before I continue, like, this guy is a monster, and he should go to jail forever. But if you support the Catholic Church, isn't that like the same thing as being an R. Kelly fan? Like, no, I don't really see the difference. Only like one's music is significantly better. No, because the other day, my mom was like, I'm going to Mass. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go listen to the Ignition remix. Look, I'm not saying it's an easy decision. Like, I'm just saying you don't know how good someone's music really is until you find out they're a pedophile. And the reason everybody's so upset is because R. Kelly and Michael Jackson made great music, you know? If I found out Macklemore did some weird stuff, I'd be happy to free up the space on my iPhone, you know? It just, like, depends who did it, you know? Like, and I understand people who say, like, how could you listen to that music after what he did? Headphones? I don't know. Look, believe me, look, once we start doing our research, we're not gonna have much left, you know, because it seems like all really talented people are sick. Don't worry, Colin, me and you are good.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Not Che, though. Che's a genius.
Genius.
Wait, what?
Look, I don't know what it is with talented people. You know, Charlie Chaplin was like the first movie star ever, and he married a 15-year-old, and he couldn't even talk.
Well, he could talk in real life.
No, he couldn't. I saw all the footage. He didn't talk once. That's why he's a silent film star. So, with guys like R. Kelly, the rule should be if you want to listen to their music, you just have to admit that they're bad people. You know?
Is it that hard to just stop listening to them all entirely?
Well, you don't listen to R. Kelly, you know, but what if you found out the inventor of, like, hair gel got caught jerking it on a train, you know? You can't use hair gel anymore.
It's a good point, actually.
Yeah. All I'm saying is, like, pretending these people never existed is maybe not the solution, you know? The rule should be, like, you could appreciate their work, but only if you admit what they did. You know, you could buy a Mustang, but you have to say, Henry Ford hated the Jews as you buckle it, you know? The full sentence should be, Mark Wahlberg beat up an old Asian dude, and I would like 1 ticket to Daddy's Home 3, please. Because if it's that important to you, at least own it. You know, like, I don't need to ever see a Kevin Spacey movie again. But if the CEO of Swisher Sweets turns out to be a cannibal, I can't just change my whole life, okay? So, here's my plan, and hopefully you guys like it. Every time any of us listen to a song or watch a movie made by an accused serial predator, you have to give $1 to charity that helps sexual assault survivors. I've already donated $142, and that's just from the Ignition remix alone.
That is really nice, Pete. And is there anything else you want to talk about? Just anything else going on?
No, I don't think so.
Not like a new girlfriend situation at all, Pete?
Oh yeah. Apparently people have a crazy fascination with our age difference. But it doesn't really bother us. But then again, I'm new to this. So if you have questions about a relationship with a big age difference, just ask Leonardo DiCaprio, Jason Statham, Michael Douglas, Richard Gere, Jeff Goldblum, Scott Disick, Dane Cook, Derek Jeter, Bruce Willis, Harrison Ford, Tommy Lee, Alec Baldwin, Sean Penn, and whoever the president of France is, Mel Gibson, Billy Joel, Mick Jagger, Sylvester Stallone, Eddie Murphy, Kelsey Grammer, Larry King, Rod Stewart, and Donald Trump.
Pete Davidson, everyone.
You're going down, Chad. You're going down.
I don't even know what